and welcome back to By Myself But Not Alone. This is episode 17, Salt Lake City, Utah. So we got up in Boise, we got checked out, hit a Burger King for a double dose of coffee on the way out, and we hit the road. We didn't leave too early because it was only a 5-hour trip, and then we ended up taking the wrong route, which still would have only made it a 6-hour trip, but we ended up getting into some icy road conditions and the whole trip kind of got slowed down. By the time we made it to Salt Lake City, it was almost 7 o'clock. We had planned on finding our hotel and then heading to the pre-party, but at this point we started to run into more trouble with the old Google lady. We thought she was bad in Boise. She went into straight stupid mode in Salt Lake City. We typed in the hotel's address and she took us straight to an abandoned warehouse out on the edge of the city limits. We were pretty certain that wasn't our hotel, so we went ahead and typed the address in again, and the new location appeared to be about 15 minutes away. So we went ahead and tried again, and when we almost got to where she told us we were heading, she started turning us around, putting us on the highway the other way. So at this point, Rob breaks out his phone and he types in the address. So you got Michelle in the front seat with her Google lady out, Rob in the back seat with his Google lady out. So we got to a point where Michelle starts yelling at me because I'm missing the exit after Rob had just told me to keep on going straight. They were giving me two different sets of directions. So Michelle took Rob's phone, lined them right up next to each other, same app, same type of phone, two totally different sets of directions. So we pulled over, Michelle restarted her phone, she turned Rob's off completely, punched in the address, and this time about 10 minutes later we found ourselves at the hotel. We later found out that there was a good chance that the confusion came from the way the streets are numbered there. They all have really long 5 or 6 digit numbers, or at least in the area we were in. So we figured that might have had something to do with the navigation problems. We didn't know, but we were at our hotel, we were good. We got checked into the hotel, got everything in and unloaded, and we started getting texts from people that were at the party asking if we were coming, and said, yep, we're still coming. We're going to be a little bit late. And everybody said, take your time. There aren't a lot of people here. It certainly looked like we weren't the only ones that were running behind. Black ticket holder Brandon Murray lives right there in Utah, and this was his hometown show. He lined up the pre-party. It was at a place, I believe it was called The Garage, and it was like right along the side of a highway. And when we got there was really nowhere to park. The limited number of parking spaces right next to the building were all full. There were cars parked on either side in the grass. It looked like people were hopping the curb, and there was really no way to pull up into that grass, so you had to jump the curb, and I was worried about damaging the car. So I said, I'm not going to do that. We decided to drive downtown, take a look around Salt Lake City. We figured we'd come back in 15 minutes and maybe a spot would open. So we were cruising around enjoying the sights. It was a nice downtown. There were a lot more Christmas decorations and lights all around the city than in the previous cities. We were having a good old time until we realized that they also had a train that ran downtown. It didn't take long to figure out that you pretty much had to know how it worked. You had to know how to drive in a place where trains and cars were sharing the same lanes. I didn't think it was going to take us too long to find ourselves in a mess, and from that point on, I just did not like driving around down there. So we headed on back to the bar, and when we got there, we got lucky. There was one spot that opened up right when you pull into the bar. The only problem was there was a lady there trying to get out, and she couldn't get out unless we moved, and so we had to back out and back onto the highway, and we just finally said hell with it. It wasn't meant to be, and we headed back to the hotel. We figured we'd tell everybody the next day. We were all pretty worn out anyway, so it didn't take long, and we were gone. We got up the next morning, hit McDonald's, and headed on down to the Vivint Smart Home Arena. That's the home of the Utah Jazz. This was going to be Rob's third and final show, and one thing I remember when we pulled into the parking lot, Rob said, man, I've been having the time of my life, but I'll be glad to get home. I don't know how you guys do this. And he said that more than once over the course of our week together. So anyway, we headed over to the arena. As with the two previous shows, Rob went and found his line. Michelle and I went and found the black ticket line. She joined the others in line, and I got busy looking for people to interview. It was pretty cool by this point because most of the black ticket holders who had received their patches were on constant lookout for people who hadn't received them yet or done their black ticket intro. And whenever they'd find someone, they'd direct them to me. A lot of times they'd walk them on over, and it became quite a team effort, and I appreciated all the help. I got some more great interviews, and as always, I got to talk to a whole lot of cool people, whether I interviewed them or not. A lot of people I ran into just didn't want any part of the interview, but it's just cool to get out there and hang out and just talk to people. When we got inside, Michelle found herself a spot on the rail, and I headed off to do my thing. And something I'd like to mention, Brandon Murray, the guy that lined up the pre-party, in Boise, he had asked me if I had railed up yet, done the show on the rail. And I told him that due to the nature of my project, it was pretty much essential that I spend my time walking around, taking pictures, getting videos, and it really wasn't going to work out because I'd have to forfeit that if I wanted to land a spot on the rail, and I was quite content not being on the rail. I'm getting old. I'm pretty much happy anywhere during the show. I'm perfectly fine back by the soundboard. Well, there in Salt Lake City, he strongly encouraged me to take his spot on the rail. He said he totally appreciated what I was doing, and he understood my answer when I told him no, I hadn't done the rail yet. And he said he'd be more than happy to give up his spot. He said I had to do the rail at least once. He said just go off and do your thing, but right before the show, come on up and I'll give you my spot. I'll back off of it and you can do it. I thought that was incredibly cool and selfless that he made the offer. I appreciated it, but there was no way in hell that I was going to take his rail spot at his hometown show. He said, okay, I get it, but please consider doing it, and from this point moving forward, any show you want to do it, just let me know. I'll grab you a spot, and then we'll swap out. He told me it was a standing offer, and he really wanted to see me do it just one time. I told him that I would indeed take him up on his offer once before the tour was over if I didn't find another way to do it. I appreciated it, but we could talk about that later. And again, that's one of those little things about the tour that's just kind of locked in my memory. I don't think I'm ever going to forget that. I appreciate it, Brandon. So I kept on moving, and I made my way over to the soundboard. There really wasn't anyone that I knew over there, with one exception. Big Mick was sitting right behind his mixing board. So if you don't know who Big Mick is, he's Metallica's live audio engineer. He's their main sound guy, and he's been there since 1984. I've seen him at many shows over the years. I've been close enough to talk to him numerous times, but he always seemed to be in the middle of doing something. I never really wanted to bother him. So I've never actually got to formally meet him, to shake his hand. He's always super friendly with the fans. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people taking pictures of him, and if he becomes aware that you're taking a picture, he always stops, smiles, and gives you the thumbs up. It's just incredibly fan-friendly. Super guy. He was just kind of sitting there relaxing, looking around. So I figured this is the time to do it. I reached in my pocket, pulled out one of my patches, and I said, hey, Mick, can I give you something? He stood up, walked on over. I introduced myself. I told him I was a black ticket holder. I told him about the patches, and I told him there's been one with his name on it the whole time, and I was happy to give it to him. He really seemed to like the patch. I told him how I'd always wanted to meet him and just never had the chance to, really. I asked if he'd mind if we'd get a picture, and he said sure. We took a couple pictures. We talked for a couple more minutes, and then he had to go do his thing, and that was that. It was a really cool 5 minutes, and it really made my night. I went off and found Rob. Jim and Joe got the party started. They got the crowd really fired up. Again, just like in Boise, the Salt Lake City crowd seemed to bond with Jim really well. He was on a hot streak. He was tearing it up. By this point, I was really confident that for the rest of the tour, Jim was just going to stay in that groove that he had found early in the tour. Metallica came on strong. They did their thing. There were some good rotations to the set list. We heard Through the Never, Whiplash, Halo on Fire, and Fight Fire with Fire was the first encore. It was just a great night all the way around. They broke another attendance record. There were 17,500 and some people there, which is, the new all-time high for a concert in that venue. That just seemed to be happening in city after city after city. It just felt good to hear that news over and over and over. And in Salt Lake City, we heard it again. I did not get my two picks, but on the way out the door, I ran into Brad Derry from Wisconsin. He asked me if I got my two picks, and I said, nope, just got one. He opened his hand. He had 5 or 6. He handed me one. We had talked a couple times about a pick that I had that he needed. I think it was the Minnesota pick. He needed one for a friend or something, and I had never gotten around to bringing it. He just said, bring that pick whenever. I don't care when you give it to me. Just get it to me by the end of the tour. Thanks for that hookup, Brad. That really helped me out. So we went outside. We walked around the building. We were looking for the group photo, but we never found it. We did find a large group of black ticket holders, but it was pretty darn cold, so it didn't take long, and everybody dispersed pretty quickly. We finally headed to the car and then back to the hotel. When we got there, Rob had to get all his stuff ready because he had a really early flight. I told him I could run him to the airport in the morning, but he said it'd be a lot easier and we could all sleep a little bit later if he just called an Uber. I was happy to agree with him, and we all went to sleep. The next morning we all got up. It wasn't too awful long before Rob was looking at his phone telling us his Uber was 3 minutes away. He told Michelle it was great to meet her and he had a great time. He told me to come over to his house as soon as I got back in town. And then he said something to both of us, the last thing he said before he left. He said, this has been one of the greatest things I've ever done. It was awesome, but I cannot wait to get home. I'm beat. I feel like I've been working 7 days straight, 3 weeks in a row, and it was only 3 shows. I feel like I've been run over by a train. I've got nothing but mad respect for you and your friends. I don't know how you guys do this. I really do not know how you do this. It's been real. Peace out. Rock on. And he closed the door behind him. Shortly after that, we got everything loaded up. We checked out of the hotel and we were on the highway heading for Spokane, Washington. We had no idea of the horror we were about to encounter. So Rob, I just want to say I'm glad you came along. Now you know what's up. I know you've seen Metallica quite a few times before, but you got to experience that hardcore road trip. And I hope you learned how stupid it is to go out and seek majestic beauty in the grandeur of the mountains right in the middle of a snowstorm on top of a mountain. Next time we go around the mountain, you don't get to say so. You know I had to throw that in. I had a great time and we will do it again in the future. I definitely want to say thank you to the crowd in Salt Lake City. You guys are a wild bunch. Thanks for the picture and conversation, Big Mick. Brandon Murray, again, I want to say thanks for that unexpiring rail offer. To everyone else, I'd like to say, as always, thanks for watching. If you like what we have going on here, we'd appreciate it greatly if you consider subscribing to the channel. Give us a like, a dislike, whatever the case may be. If you find yourself in a video, please feel free to share it to social media and help us grow the project. Next stop, Spokane, Washington. We'll see you there. Until then, rock on. Can you tell us your names and where you're from?
My name's Emery. I'm from Page, Arizona, northern part.
I'm Jamie, and I'm also from Page, Arizona.
I'm Jason Garkowski from Cleveland, Ohio.
My name is Valerie. I'm from Montreal, Quebec.
My name is Will Denham. I'm from Danville, Kentucky.
I'm Gregory from Belgium. Kent from Belgium.
Calvin and Leah Waters, Colorado.
All right, you look a lot alike. Are you related?
Yeah, we're actually brothers, 5 years apart though. I know
All right.
a lot of people call us twins, but we're not.
And you're the young one?
No, I'm the older one.
All righty.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Metallica before?
Yes, you have.
All right, how long have you been a Metallica fan?
Oh, since I was like in 3rd grade, so that's like 87, 88.
All right.
Around there.
Have you seen them live before?
Once or twice this week. So
Total,
I'm at, I think, 60 now.
60?
Yep.
Right on.
Or close to 60.
Commendable.
Oof, since I was 7.
So what year are we talking?
90s.
That doesn't make sense. You don't look that old.
Thank you. It still makes sense though in my body.
All right. So you've seen them before?
I have, just a couple times.
Do you have a number? Do you keep track like a lot of these guys?
I think it would be 27.
All right. All right. Did you drive out?
No, I flew out.
All right. You black ticket holder?
Yes, I am.
Have you seen a couple shows?
I have. I went to Vegas and Boise. This is my 3rd one.
All righty. What do you think about the black ticket experience so far?
It's been fantastic. Being able to go to any of these shows 48 hours in advance, it's great. My work schedule is a little bit flaky here and there, so I never can tell what I can get out to, but I'd like to know I've always got a spot.
All right. Have you seen you've obviously seen Metallica before. Do you have a number? Do you keep track like everybody?
Yeah. I'm 18. This will be 19 tonight.
And how long have you been a fan?
Since 87 when I was like 2.
So your parents were fans?
That's right. Yeah, my father was.
For me, when Enter Sandman came out on MTV, I saw the video and I was sold for like forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
It was over. Kiss it goodbye. How about you?
Yeah. For me, not so long. It's from the Saint Anger too.
Oh, you like Saint Anger?
That was the first album.
Yeah. A lot of people here have trouble with it. It took a while.
Yes.
But you like that album?
I like that album. It's not my favorite, but I like it.
Have you seen them before live?
Yes, that will be my 12th show. Yeah, in Portland, not now, it will be my 80th show.
80th?
Yeah.
Oh wow! And it's not a competition. It's for sure. It's a good reference point.
I skipped like 2 shows this leg just to be able to see some parts of America too.
Wow!
So I'm not drawing lines.
So what did you guys see? This is kind of straying, but do you like it here?
Yeah, I really like it. Yeah. We went to Bryce Canyon.
Okay.
And then today we went to a shooting range in the States.
Alrighty.
So it was pretty intensive. In Belgium you can't do that, so you can't just walk in there and start shooting. We started in Vegas. So
Yeah.
My entire life.
Forever.
So how old are you? Give us
20 to 30 years.
Okay.
More on the
answer.
30-year mark.
All right. Have you seen them before?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you count like a lot of these guys do? It doesn't matter if it's your first or your 50th.
This will actually be our second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a competition. It's just
Yeah.
you hear people throwing their numbers out. Do you have a favorite song? Can you narrow it down?
Diary's Eve.
All right. Didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Actually, I think I'm gonna have to go with the instrumental, Orion.
Oh.
That's what I named my son after.
Oh
Song.
man, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's
Excellent.
cool.
And you call him that, or is it a middle name?
That's his name, Orion.
All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Can you pick a favorite album?
Justice for All.
All
I
right.
have to say Red Light.
Trick question, maybe not for you. Can you narrow it down to a favorite album?
Favorite album? I think my favorite is Kill 'Em All, just because of the rawness. But my go-to is usually Puppets, if that makes sense.
Because it's the perfect album.
It is. Puppets is totally the perfect
Not
album.
putting words in your mouth, I'm agreeing with you.
That's
though.
exactly why. That's why it's my go-to, but my favorite is because of the rawness is Kill 'Em All.
All right, maybe a little harder. Can you narrow it down to one single best song, favorite song?
Favorite song?
You can go heavy hitter and ballad if you want.
Yeah,
Or softer, not ballad.
Favorite?
But
I always listen to Whiplash. Whiplash is definitely a favorite of mine, especially at work.
Okay.
Stay at my desk, always Whiplash. But then Fixer, I'll put Fixer on like 5 times in a row and just jam it. So it's Fixer and Whiplash are my answers.
good answer. Can you narrow it down to a favorite album?
Dude, that is so difficult. I do have a thing for Injustice for All. Yeah.
Right on.
One
How
of the
about-
first one I was given. So
Okay, how about a favorite song? You
I
can
have
get-
I
go
have
with
a-
a heavy one and a slow one.
I have a thing for Escape. I know a lot of people wouldn't, but I have a thing for Escape and Leper Messiah.
Can you narrow it down to a favorite song?
Harvester of Sorrow.
Didn't even have to think about it.
Didn't have to think about
Some people do. Favorite album?
it. And Justice.
Can you narrow it down to a favorite album?
Reload. Reload.
Reload's your favorite album?
Yes.
All right.
For me, definitely Kill 'Em All. Yeah.
Okay, how about?
And after Master of Puppets, but Kill 'Em All wins. It's
Okay,
all-time favorite album.
My favorite song is on Kill 'Em All. It's Four Horsemen.
that was my next question. Favorite song?
And he missed it because they played it 2 days ago.
Yes.
And we were in Bryce Canyon.
That's why they made the internet.
Yeah.
You can look it up.
Yeah.
But favorite song?
My favorite song is The Four Horsemen also, followed shortly by Master of Puppets.
Can you narrow it down to one favorite song?
It's got to be our first dance song at our wedding. It was Nothing Else Matters.
When was your wedding?
In June.
Yeah.
And so this is your...
This is our honeymoon.
Okay,
Yeah.
you've been waiting for this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Can you narrow it down to a favorite album?
Kill 'Em All.
You too? Oh, yeah. Nice. And same as well?
I
Kill 'Em
would
All?
say same as all. Yeah.
How about favorite band member?
Favorite band member, I had to say James Hetfield, just because I play guitar and he fucking kills it every single night.
Even though I'm a drummer, I like Lars, but I like James more.
I gotta say, I can't pick one. It's James or Lars. James, I feel like all of his graphical design background and stuff, like I totally relate to all that. Lars, being the Uber fan, I totally like relate to that. And like Lars with all the fans, the way he interacts with everybody, just that's it.
I have a thing for James and his butt and those very tight jeans.
It's all about James, huh?
Yeah,
Alrighty.
it is.
James.
I'm going for James.
I have to be honest also. I like them all, but when James is standing in front of you and your front row, it's like, fuck it.
Well,
James Hetfield for me.
All right.
it's got to be the same for me.
What were you saying about Lars earlier, though?
Well, I mean, I do love Lars. I am a drummer. I do love Lars. So,
But
yeah,
you-
it's Lars. for me.
Okay, there we go. What do you think about Jim Brewer opening the show? Comedy for Metal. Or, you know, Brewer's opening up, right? Okay.
Yeah, I've seen some of this stuff.
What do you think about that?
I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of broadening the audience of metal.
Okay.
Getting more exposure, kind of. You know, you see a big comedy name come into a metal show, opening up for them, and it's just like, oh, hey, you know, there's more than more people that listen to metal. It's cool.
No problem? You in agreement with your brother?
Yeah.
Dude, before, I never seen Brewer before the tour. So Madison was my first taste, other than like his movies and such. Madison, I actually didn't think it was that bad. I knew he would fine-tune it, which he has, and now I think he's killing it. Boise the other night, he freaking nailed it, I think. The crowd loved it. I think it's a great mix of just Metallica fandom and him doing his comedy. Yeah, I think it's great. It's similar to the Fillmore, but more geared towards this tour.
I had seen Brewers years ago. I worked for a comedy festival in Montreal, so I knew what I was getting into. And I was super excited to have comedy before the show, and I think he's doing a great job. And he's not only good on stage, he's good with the people. He's actually giving back to the fans, and I think he understands he's building himself a very loyal fan base with us.
Yeah,
so
and while
he's
he's
being
doing
smart
that,
about it.
it's like we're not even fans. It's like
He's
just
a
making
buddy.
friends.
Yeah, exactly.
So before I saw him, there was a lot of negative stigma on the internet about it, and I've definitely seen reviews and other people commenting about it. I didn't think it was as bad. I do feel like the act could stand to change up a little bit every night for those of us going to all these, but I get it, man. He's doing a set. That's his comedy. I do find him funny. I like him in Half Baked and some of the other stuff he's done.
Well, it's pretty good.
I was a little afraid of it because I thought, yeah, stand-up comedian before Metallica. But what he did in Vegas, it was the first time I saw it, but it was really funny. It was really good. I enjoyed it, and I can sense that the crowd is more vibed up, or how you say it, than just another band before it.
Okay. Yeah,
They were really into it by Brewer.
How about Brewer? What do you think? You know, when you first heard that Jim Brewer was opening up, what did you think? And
I was excited for it.
And you saw him in Boise. Now,
Yeah.
what do you think about that? What
He did a great job. I really liked it.
I
I
liked
missed
that
a
it
little bit of
wasn't
it, though.
necessarily a band performing. I liked that it was just kind of hype up to get the audience really ready for Metallica.
Mhm.
Loved the backstage stuff too. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, so many people had an issue with it before, but I'm hearing more and more people say, wow, that wasn't what I expected. He kind of turned it into a rock production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth.
No, it was
Yeah, it was
awesome.
not what I
'cause
was expecting, but I was pleasantly surprised about it. Yeah.
All righty, well, that's
Really
good to
liked it.
hear. Jim's
Yeah.
going to love to hear that. We come from all walks of life as Metallica fans.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
I actually work at a Walmart store, and I do receiving work.
All right.
Yeah, I work at Walmart too. But
All right.
I'm still in school.
Oh, okay. Hey.
Part time. Yeah.
I'm a project manager in translation.
Yeah, I'm an IT manager.
I farm.
Right on.
I'm a political consultant.
Do you have one person in your life that you credit with turning you on to Metallica in the first place?
One person in life. I would say my dad. As a kid growing up, he killed all his CDs and his cassette tapes, just playing it all the time. So.
Well, good parents raise good kids, and that's a testament to where we are. How about you?
Yeah, my dad.
All righty. I was wondering if you were going to point that way, but you were hearing the same stuff as he played it.
I actually don't even remember the guy's name or kid's name. I was probably in like second, third grade. As a friend of mine at the time is like his older brother. I remember him jamming. He had crew posters in his bedroom, jamming in Metallica. So that was my first taste. And then I remember years later, like when Justice did come out, I was like, oh, there's that band. So that's kind of like I was hooked ever since then.
My dad.
Your dad.
Yeah. My dad he's a show technician and has always been into rock or whatever, and we listened to his tapes so much in his car that they snapped. So we had to get some more.
So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All righty. Good parents raise good kids. This is another way to say it.
For me, it was a moment I told earlier. I saw it on MTV when the video for Enter Sandman came out. Well, I saw it and I actually remember how the living room looked, what happened that moment. I remember it all.
Every time you hear it?
Crashed me.
Does it come back every time you hear it? Do you get that feeling?
Yeah, by now I have heard it so many
I know.
times. So I'm saying yes.
Okay.
I heard it with an older friend of mine in the car.
Okay.
Always playing Metallica.
Yeah.
St. Anger album just came out.
Okay.
I played a lot and so we did.
3 bands that blow me away.
Personally, your favorite 3 bands on the side.
Pantera is number 1 behind Metallica. White Zombie, when they were around, by number 2. Third one, that's a tough one. That fluctuates, so it's like it could be anybody from Sabbath. I love Wednesday 13. I love the band Rancid a lot.
Okay.
And here's a crazy answer, but like I'll go with the band like Poison. Because that was also, and I also got into music all at the same time. So it was all...
Hey, I get it. Crazy is good.
Yep.
3 favorite bands aside from Metallica would be Trivium, number 1, Lamb of God, number 2, and probably Slipknot, number 3. All that new stuff.
Did you meet Corey the other night?
I did. Got to shake his hand in Vegas, yeah.
That's really cool. So we take Metallica out of the question, not counting Metallica. Can you give me 3 bands that are your personal favorite bands in your life?
Rammstein, Pearl Jam, think about the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, it changes all the time.
Yeah.
But Pearl Jam is a stayer, and then I really like Full Beat.
Okay.
And System of a Down.
Waylon Jennings.
I listened to that coming here from St. Louis.
Skynyrd and probably the Misfits.
Nice little combination there. How about
For me, my good old high school bands, Incubus, definitely love them. I'm a big fan of Rage Against the Machine. And, geez, what would be my third? My third, I'll throw in some Modest Mouse in there. I have a weird one.
Haven't heard that one. Never heard of that.
You haven't heard of them? They're pretty good. They're kind of folky.
Okay.
Can get hard, but
a little bit more indie rock.
Kind of indie rock,
I'm going to check it out. That's
Yeah.
why I threw this question out there. Forgot this one on Jason too. What do you think about the new album, Hardwired?
Oh, I think they went back to basics and it's rocking. So yeah, no, I really love it.
And can I ask, did you see it coming on the level that it came? Did you see that coming?
No, because Death Magnetic was so, it was kind of different. And although they did again go back to some basics and rocking a little bit more than Saint Anger, in my opinion, no, I didn't expect something like that, and I was happily surprised.
If the band members themselves should happen to see this at any point in the future, do you have a message for them?
Yeah, just keep rocking on, keep doing what you guys love doing, and it's, everyone else loves it, so it's good. Yeah.
You summed it up well.
I'm sorry, I'm just kind of speechless.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're excited for the show?
Yeah.
Just thank you for rocking. Thank you for the black ticket opportunities. This is once in a lifetime, so surreal, meeting everybody. And Lars, thank you for the toaster you sent me like 10 years ago.
All right, and hey, behind you,
Yes, that's my chapter, Dyer's Cleve. We're based out of Cleveland, Ohio.
if the band members themselves should happen to see this at any point in our future, do you have a personal message from Val to the band?
Simply thank you for giving us the music and giving us the feeling that we get during a show, and on the side of that, giving us a whole new family and meeting people that are just like us. So all a bunch of misfits that found each other and formed a family.
So the thing I would have to tell them is thank you for making such kick-ass music for all of us around the world. I've never seen as many different walks of life come together under one common thing ever. And this is just an amazing experience for that, for live music, and for the awesome stuff they do day in and day out.
If Metallica themselves should happen to see this at any point in our future, do you have a message for them?
Thank you.
That's a common answer, and it says it all.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say thank you for your music, your vibes, your shows, all of it. I like it, I love it, and I live it.
I met beautiful people.
Yeah, that's the most important
Yes.
thing. Meeting people around the globe.
See
It's
great
all because
cities.
of Metallica. Actually, we have not traveled together
Yes.
before.
Oh, really?
We're now a leg in the USA. So.
Yeah, he told me he got a black ticket. Did you get a black ticket in
No,
Europe?
I actually I'm gonna say this to Metallica. I really was fucked over with the black ticket.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I tried to buy it and I had it, and my credit card was refused because I'm not living in the States. So I tried again, the same. I tried again, the same. I tried again, the same. Then my credit card was blocked.
Okay.
Because the limit was reached.
Okay,
so I couldn't buy tickets in the pre-sale anymore.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying all pre-sales, all money for Metallica.
Ooh.
Yeah, the black ticket.
Yeah, in Europe?
In Europe, I
So they're
have.
going to make up for it.
Yeah, okay.
Things happen. But I understand. And I'll leave that in there. Alrighty, but you guys going to travel together over there? Don't know what you're doing yet.
I have planned now 11 or 12 shows.
Okay.
But it will. That's the advantages of a black ticket you can see. But now it's planned like 10 to 12, let's say. This
Okay.
is for sure.
Yeah. And
I hope to do 10 shows. It will be the last show is on my birthday, 25
Gotcha.
August. That's my 30th show on my 30th birthday. So.
all right on. Well,
Nice.
you'll be able to apply this with your black ticket.
Yes.
But it's what you touched on. I've been telling friends I'm traveling around the United States, meeting the entire world, and you'll get to apply that to Europe, Nicky. So,
Okay.
if Metallica themselves should happen to see this at any point in the future, do you have a message for them?
Thank you for being awesome and
I know.
continuing to do this well past your expectancy, I guess. Like, you keep doing it for the fans year after year after year. I think we all appreciate it.
And I love what Lars said in Boise. I'm so glad that this is just the beginning. Yeah.